So it's been about a year since I bought my Logosol F2 Plus chainsaw mill. Figured I'd finally put a little bit of the work on video and put it out into the world and let everyone have a look. So let's watch as I mill up this big old willow that a friend took down in Dartmouth. This log is about 8 feet long, which is kind of the perfect length. It goes across the two log lifters there that you can see on either end of the mill. So I just cut a flat spot. The two log lifters are set at different heights, doesn't really matter at this point. Scooch across the middle. More or less just taking a bit of bark off, doesn't really matter. And then cutting another high spot off the other end. You could just cut a flat spot along the whole log. You know, that's fine. I only have the two log lifters, so most importantly, I just need a flat spot to stabilize the log on either end. So at this point, I can just take the two log dogs off and struggle to roll the log around. Now, this is not a straight log by any stretch, so it's just awkward. Just generally, it's pretty heavy too. I'm not sure how heavy it is, but... So you'll see here as I try to roll it around, that high spot now that's pointing straight up will get hooked on the guide rail. Not a big deal. These are fairly solid rigs. It just means I have to keep sliding the log around and try not to have it roll back on me and kill me. Luckily, in this Canadian spring, there's a nice layer of ice on my log lifter, so it does make moving the log, or sliding the log, a little less difficult. Still need to be somewhat strong. Just keep struggling. I do wish I had a platform before the mill. Right now I just have basically ramps straight to the mill. It'd be nice if it was ramps, platform, then the mill. I could have, 2 or 3 logs sort of queued up. Okay, so you can see where the two flat spots are resting on the log lifters now. At this point, I'm just moving those log dogs to the back, and this is just going to prevent the log, as I run the chainsaw through it, from pulling up against the guide where that big nub is sticking out. And that'll just allow for enough room for the carriage that the saw is attached to slide along the guide rail. This little piece of wood here is just my jig, and I just set that on the guide rail, and that shows me where my bar and my chain will leave the log. And on the other end, of course, I just have the bar and the chain, the saw, to know where the bar and chain will enter the log. It's like the easiest jig you could rig up. Alright, so now it's just a matter of firing it up and taking a small, thin layer off the top.
I'll start the timer here. I know when I was doing my research on these mills, one of the most obsessive things was just how long does it take to get through a log. And it's actually super helpful, so here it is. Take a short pause here to stick in a wedge. Just keeps the friction off the bar and off the top side of the chain, or in this case the back of the chain. Highly recommend doing that. I didn't wedge for the longest time. Just recently started doing that, and it really is a lot better. Coming up on a minute here. I don't bother putting in a second wedge. There's just no meat there to wedge. No wood. So it took about a minute 15 for this first pass, which isn't too bad for an 8-foot willow. That's, I don't know, maybe an 8-inch cut, give or take. This is the first willow I've ever milled, and I was pretty surprised by how soft it seems. Like, it's a nice healthy tree, but it seemed soft. Not as soft as like poplar or something like that, but it cuts really nice. I'm just checking out the measurement on my log lifters there. It's not super critical. I'm not making a cant or anything like that. So I raised it 7 clicks. So that's 7 quarters, which will leave me with a slab that is 6 quarters. Just subtract 1 quarter for the kerf. The kerf on the bar and chain that I'm currently using is about 1/4 inch. Maybe a tiny bit more. The clicks at this point are super critical. I want to make sure I raise the log evenly. So 7 clicks on one end, 7 clicks on the other, so that I get a nice even cut. The bottom, the distance from my bar down is not super important. What I'm most concerned with is the measurement from the bar up. Right, it's the top of my bar to that first cut, that first surface, that flat surface. That is my, my reference point. So that's what I'm paying attention to. The measurement below the bar can certainly be very important in a lot of cases. I'm keeping an eye on it. I don't want those measurements to be wildly different, but for slabbing like this, it's just something to pay attention to, not a big deal. All right, coming to the end of the log. Going to toss in a wedge. So we're looking at about 1.5 minutes. Not bad. Maybe 1:40. You'll notice I don't shut the chainsaw off right away. I like to hear those RPMs sort of settle into an idle before I shut it off. And that's the first slab. There's obviously much better slabs to come, but hey, not too bad. Not too bad at all. Now I just reset for the second slab cut. I'm going with 8 clicks at this point, which will leave us with a 7/4 slab. What do you say? Should I take a picture? Ooh, that actually looks all right. Not too bad. While I have you here and I have a minute, for this log I'm using a 36-inch bar. You'll find it just won't be parallel with the log lifters. And certainly if you're doing dimensional lumber and making a cant and that sort of stuff, having your bar parallel to the log lifters is really important. That's not the case with the 36-inch bar, and I don't have the nose steering on. That's a whole other story. So the bar just kind of dips down. But because I'm lifting the log up and my measurement is above the bar, that's what I'm concerned with. Yeah, the nose dips, but it dips the same way throughout the entire log, and it dips the same way cut after cut. So it's still relative to the previous cut, right? It's relative to the reference point. Oh, hello, wife. My wife just pulled in the driveway there, so giving her a little wave. But yeah, so the nose dips down, but it dips down consistently.
By the way, Willow has a strange smell. I can't describe it. I don't know if there's there's probably different types of willow, whatever this one is. It had some of those funny cheese smells that some logs have, but that wasn't really the predominant scent. It was almost like a musty smell. It was I won't say I enjoyed the smell, that's for sure. Beautiful wood, but strange smell. And just like that, another 2 minutes of my life spent with wood. It's worth it. It has a strange shape, but I don't know. I think it's super beautiful. And it's unique, Every tree is its own tree. Kind of like people, I suppose. I'd like to take this time to thank my sponsors. I'm just kidding. I actually just want to apologize for the chips of wood that are hitting the camera and making it go dink. Also, sorry about the angle. Man, what was I thinking? I knew exactly what I was thinking. I didn't have a tripod, and hey, a log is a tripod when you have no tripod. Okay, moving on. I'll let you watch this cut in peace. By the way, on the utility pole there behind me is my hand winch, and that's what I use for rolling the logs up onto the mill. Just don't tell the power company. Frig, I paid for it. To hell with them. Oh look, a new angle. Almost as bad as the last one. But at least you can see the bar enter the log, so that's cool. And I gotta say, the slabs look really nice from here. Beautiful. One of the things I enjoy most about milling logs is you never know what you're gonna find on the inside. It could be a little bit curly or really nice straight grain. You may be into that. You might find some neat little things that bugs do to the wood. It's a lot of fun, and you just never... Or you find a nail like that. Doesn't do much good to stop and sook about it, so just keep on milling. The damage is done, though I will say it will cut much slower from this point on. Oh yeah, added probably, I'd say 30 seconds to a minute of cutting time. For the most part, it will be a pretty routine sharpening. Some teeth will need a little more attention than others, but one tooth in particular will need a lot of work as it's facing the sky. I've been milling for about a year. It's only my second nail, I believe. So that's a pretty good track record. Might be my third nail, but only the second log with a nail. I'll bring you in a little closer here to have a look. Not much to see, but you can see that black wood, that dark wood. So I do a little thing here, a little trick I've learned. I'm gonna stop and just sort of move the saw back a little bit. And if it's nice and loose, all is well, go on with your day. If there's some tightness there, that means you need to dress the bar and your saw is starting to cut crooked, either starting to move down or move up. And that's not good. That basically ruins the current cut that you're on. So I'll get one more slab out of this guy and call it quits. With this last cut, I'll move the dogs completely out of the way because cutting through them is no fun. And it is a little tricky. I'll have to use my hands and do some super safe stuff here. Not like it's unsafe, just don't be an idiot and be careful.
That's it. Easy peasy. I'll just give you one last look here. Flip them all back over one by one.